toes. I'm breaking in, shaping up, then checking out on the prison bus. This is it, the apocalypse. Whoa.
Anguilla's President Ronald Webster today sent a cable to the United Nations protesting the occupation of his tiny Caribbean island by a British task force. And a Florida real estate man, Jack Holcomb, was back in Miami today after being expelled from the island by the occupation troops. Holcomb, who says he was an economic advisor to President Webster, accused the British of spending millions on the invasion, but being unwilling to spend a dime on the island's improvement. Here's a report from CBS News correspondent Morton Dean on Anguilla.
Activity was centered around what was a schoolhouse and what now appears to be headquarters for the occupation troops. The self-proclaimed and enormously popular president of the island, Ronald Webster, came here for discussions with the British officials, Webster bearing a central demand that Anguilla no longer be forced to associate with nearby St. Kitts Island.
Well, what would you accept? What kind of an association with Britain would you accept?
All I will accept is direct association.
A direct association with Britain?
Yes.
Not through St. Kitts.
The British appear quite ready to concede that demand, which has made many observers here wonder why troops had to be sent in the first place.
Are you guaranteeing that the populace here will not be ever put back under the St. Kitts government?
Yes.
You are guaranteeing that? Isn't that something of a compromise, a major compromise?
I think it is, but if this is a guarantee that they will not be put back there against their will, this is a guarantee.
And that they will be able to deal directly with Britain?
Yes.
This concession may bring about a speedy resolution of the difficulties here, but in the meantime, the British are interrogating a number of persons. Several American residents of the island were questioned. A representative of the Queen, upon leaving the island under duress several days ago, said that gangster elements were in control of the island. And I was wondering whether on the basis of the questioning of various individuals here today, you have anything to substantiate the charge.
This is the statement that he made.
Yes.
I never made such a statement myself. And, if you ask me to substantiate another man's statement, it's rather difficult.
Well, these individuals were questioned concerning those allegations about gangsterism. Anything to substantiate the fact that perhaps mafia-type gangsters are controlling this island?
When you say mafia-type gangsters, this is something very serious indeed.
Well, those were the words of representative of the on this island a few days ago.
The situation here, basically speaking, is one in which there is no legal system functioning. I think, if you approach from that direction, you get a better idea of what is the case. Namely, there's a vacuum, and therefore, anything goes. I think this is the answer that you're looking for.
Well, just to press the point, and then I'll stop. When you say anything goes, have mafia-type interests been operating on the island in this vacuum?
When you say mafia-type, this is something, I'm not a policeman, nor am I an investigator.
Gangster type.
Gangsters? Not to my knowledge. It doesn't mean to say that they haven't been here. In view of the situation here, I think it's probable that they have, but not to my knowledge.
This is a rather ticklish diplomatic affair for the British, and their representatives here do not appear too anxious to directly answer many questions about what is going on here now and what it'll all lead to. Morton Dean, CBS News, Anguilla.
Shall save me by his word, and of that I'm confident. Greatest shepherd upon the earth, yo, and he rule the continent. Yo, well he shall bless me by his strength. Yo, protect I with days of length. Yo, and guide us from all this pestilence and all this evil and corruption, me say and the violence. Yo, stay far from them, cause we know I know far from them. Yo, stay far from them, cause we know I know far from them. Yo, stay far from them. Never want to move. For the better and the best, until them hard work, that's not the key to success. Now come here so we chill. I make them know the prophecy will have to fulfill. Then come to prophesy. And burn out all the traitor them and burn out all the spy. I rise up with the truth and still come to motivate the youth.
Some of the smartest dummies can't read the language of Egyptian mummies on a flag or a moon, and can't find food for the starving tummies. Pay no mind to the youths, cause it's not like the future depends on it. We'll save the animals in the zoo, cause the chimpanzee them a make big money. This is how the media villages, on TV the picture is savages and villages, and the scientists still can't explain the pyramids. Evangelists making a living on the videos of ribs of the little kids, stereotyping the image of the images, and this is what the image is.
By now you should know you are listening to the Mayor Show. We say welcome to you. Thank you for joining us on another broadcast. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. This is what we do every Sabbath morning at 8:30 a.m. Central. There are many in America who are now a part of our broadcast, and we welcome you as well. Thank you. You can always post your comments on Facebook, of course. What do we do? According to our mantra, seeking to find solutions. So we put our heads together to find solutions for the problems in Anguilla. Our vision is nation building. Our mission is the involvement of all. Call your friends and neighbors and let them know the Mayor Show is on the air. Thank you for being with us another Sabbath. In today's show, we'll be dealing with one word, justice. But it covers life. It's talawa. It's huge. It is all-encompassing. It's enough. What happens to Franklin Petty's, that is Kente's case? No, it's not going away. And that's what you're talking about, justice. Justice we are talking about. I'm not going to get into my aspect of that. I did some in the devotion. We'll get back to that in a minute. Let me be obedient to my boss.
As it relates to us here in Anguilla, I want to give you all a little story. The listening public in Anguilla and the listening public out of Anguilla who are of Anguillan descent and those who aren't of Anguillan descent but listen to this program. Here in Anguilla, we had a situation with a gentleman coming on this radio station. Mr. Vanterpool, you know him, Kenty. You know Kenty, don't you?
Yes.
Good. Let me explain what happened to Kenty a little bit and show you the dynamics on how situations work and how people divide us, conquer us, and use people that they think, that they tell they are more intelligent than everyone else. Kenty worked at Anglic. Kenty was fired from Anglic. Kenty still does not have a settlement. The person that fired Kenty from Anglic also got fired from Anglic. He got a settlement of over $2.something million. Recently, there was an election for board members for Anglic. This gentleman was selected on the board of Anglic. Kenty still does not have a solution. In order for this gentleman to be selected on the board of Anglic, because he was chosen by the government side of this thing, he had to be approved by the governor's office. And being approved by the governor's office also knows about Kenty's story because Kenty went to this governor.
Yep. I was there.
No, you were with him at the governor's office?
Yes.
Good. Okay, the stories are fitting together. Now, this gentleman is now elected to the board of Anglic. Do you think that Kenty's issue will be represented? What if this gentleman who was selected to the board also has some vendetta towards the people that got rid of him from Anglic?
Right.
This gentleman also runs a parallel company to Anglic. No, and it's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. But you see, what is happening is that when the owner of the house makes you feel as if you're superior, that's how they divide and conquer. Because now, what you're looking at, this gentleman feels he's superior. Kenti is less of a human being. So Kenti deserves to have someone shackle him, kneel on his neck, and then we toss him aside. You see, in our society, we need to understand that's everything in Anguilla is crying out for leadership. We need leadership. And the people in America that are protesting, they're not all black. The people that are protesting are the people that don't understand how the hierarchy, the judicial system, the elected people are controlling them. And that's the reason why lots of people of different colors are going out and protesting, because they don't understand how this thing is working. And here in Little Anguilla, it's a similar situation. And if I was that gentleman that was selected to that board, I would look deep and moral within myself. Because you see, when you're in charge of leading people, it's different when you're an individual just living. But when you're selected to lead people, there must be a different standard. There must be a different standard. And if you don't have that standard, let me tell you what I see happen in Anguilla. You know, before you say that justice comes around the corner, let me tell you, justice happens within that next generation. Justice comes within the next generation. You live to see justice. Before, it would take forever and ever and ever and ever, and you'd have to wait. But justice is right around the bend. Do the right thing, as justice will knock on your door.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much.
The British government is complicit in all of the things that are going on in Anguilla. And it's so fascinating to see that a country that goes around the world invading other countries, trying to impose democracy and good governance on those countries, but when it comes to their own respective overseas territories that they are responsible for, good governance, accountability, transparency, democracy, it goes out the door. It goes out the door. Because, believe it or not, Anguilla is not truly a democracy. Not with an appointed person wielding so much constitutional authority. And that person basically sits in all branches of government. You have the judiciary, where that person, the governor, appoints magistrates, police chiefs, and they are accountable to him. The police chief does not report to the chief minister of Anguilla. The police chief reports to the governor directly. The attorney general is appointed by the governor of Anguilla. But the people of Anguilla pays the attorney general. And the people of Anguilla pays the police chief. And the magistrates, same thing. People of Anguilla pays these persons. But the people of Anguilla, through the elected representatives, have no say whatsoever. So that's one. The governor sits as the chairman of the executive council. He decides what will and what will not go on the other people for the executive council. You know, that's just how it is. And he has the power to overrule the decisions made by the ministers of government in the executive council. And apart from that, the governor, through extension, the deputy governor, sits in parliament as an ex officio member. These are just facts. They're not debatable. They're facts. So when it comes to democracy, we really don't have a democracy. When it comes to transparency, you can throw that out the door. We don't have that. When it comes to accountability, when we see what is going on in government, especially as it relates to public sector projects, the demolitions and so forth, the procurement, the violations of the Procurement Act, the circumventing of these acts and so forth. Excuse me. We know that there's no accountability, there's no transparency, there's no good governance. That's just the way it is, you know. And I know people may say, "Oh, Hayden's just talking," but it's just the way it is. If you're honest with yourself and you really analyze it, you'll see it. And again, another thing, the governor is also responsible for the Electoral Act, for elections. And the governor, Mr. Tim Foy and Miss Christina Scott, they are fully aware that there are a large number of persons that are registered on our voters list that are not qualified to be registered on the voters list. They know that. They know that for a fact. And they are fine with it. And they have also said that, hey, once you're registered, you can vote, whether or not you're illegally registered. And as it relates to cleaning that up, the governor does not want to clean it up, even though he's responsible. So why do we have governors in Anguilla, to be honest? I mean, why? What is the rule? I see he has a nice Range Rover. I want to know if that Range Rover was bought by the taxpayers of Anguilla, or by the fund that was sent to help with the hurricane or rehabilitation, or through good governance funds. You know, these are the type of things that people of Anguilla need to know, because when money is spent, the people of Anguilla need to know how this money is being spent and where this money is being spent. And there's just no accountability. But I'll say this, no government stays in office forever. And I am very sure in 2020, when the government changes, the full financial disclosure, full reports will be made public. Because the public needs to know. When the public is paid for these things, the public needs to know. And and that's just my view. And I'm sure other people feel that way as well, that they need to know. You may tune out, but at least the information will be readily available for you so that you can look at it.